You're watching Solar Impulse TV. Welcome back. It's good to be with you again. It's been a pretty long time. This is our pre-flight show for the biggest flight so far. Around 12 years in the making, an extraordinary feat that we're looking forward to. 5 days, 5 nights minimum, maybe longer, for the flight from Nanjing, where we are now, over to the Pacific, to Hawaii. It's going to be extraordinary. The atmosphere here is really, I'd say, tense, concentrated, vigilant, a lot like the pilot during that flight. Looking here, I can see the situation right now. That's the plane that's going to be doing this flight for such a long time, well over 120 hours, sitting there in the calm before the storm in Nanjing. Not many people around at the moment. I think everyone's getting ready and getting some sleep as best they can because it's going to be an extremely busy time. The team are going to have to move from Nanjing to Hawaii, and we are going to be there every step of the way on Solar Impulse TV. So at the moment, the takeoff is scheduled for tonight in our time in Monaco, tomorrow morning in Chinese time, around about 1900 UTC, that's GMT, but we will, of course, bring you more confirmation later. What we're going to do now in this show is just give you an idea of what's been happening over the last few weeks in China, and also here in the Mission Control Center, because we have been extremely busy. We haven't just been drinking champagne and getting suntans. There's been a lot to do over these last few weeks. The guys behind me there have been working constantly every single day, 7 days a week, to try and find a solution to get us from Nanjing to Hawaii. Like I said, about 5 weeks now that we've been waiting patiently, some people not so patiently, for this flight. So what we'll have coming up over the next few minutes or so, we're going to find out a bit more about the training, how the pilot can prepare for this. We've got an interview with Andre Borschberg that I recorded a little earlier. And we'll also be finding out a lot more about all of our social media activities. We've been very busy on that front as well, on Twitter, on Facebook, and all the other social media. So we'll have more information from our web team a little later on. Well, as I speak, the team are preparing for the big briefing of the day, where we'll get more information about whether we can definitely take off. We've been pretty confident over the last 24 hours, but nothing is sure until that plane takes off from Nanjing. Like I said, there'll be another shorter update a little later, and we'll come back on SITV to give you the information there. But for now, more about these briefings. There have been so many briefings every day at different times of the day, all the team coming back with the latest information that they have. So let's give you a flavor of what that's all about.
If I'm correct, so it's the energy neutral morning which is then in danger with U-turn and so on. In terms of cloudiness at the horizon, if the cirrus are there.
Cirrus are in the west. They are coming.
There are 3 possibilities. I mean, but the first one is to take off late, because as long as you have sun, you don't lose energy because of the night. So just the other way around. Because if you take off very early, you fly through the night and you use all your energy that you have in the batteries, and then you start with a normal solar day. And of course, then you are forced to avoid cirrus.
Yeah, we have here 2 options, and we can actually select from one of those.
Okay. I just would like to be sure of one thing. We all so much would like to fly that I hope that we don't forget one bad point or one problem somewhere. Huh?
Don't forget that today we are not at the final briefing. We have another one in 12 hours, and
I know.
We are in the big.
I think I would keep it going today.
Okay.
And
so we agree.
Yes,
sure.
Absolutely, we keep it going.
I think important is to give a lot of support to the ATC guys. I'm sure. I mean, the Chinese are very cooperative. I think the Koreans are nice. The Japanese now we know well, and I'm sure they will be cooperative in the frame that we defined, and which is the case here. But I'm sure they will need support from you guys, and maybe from Bertrand, I don't know, maybe through some calls and discussions, so that they get well and not the entire pressure on them, because it may be hard for them.
Yes.
Okay. Good. So I suggest we close this briefing. We go to the other one.
I think the only question I have with this radiation is this a problem for heat risk or not?
Warning about electromagnetic radiation which continuously exists. We are landing at Oahu, not more to say here. We have. You will have the maps also in the pilot documents. Here you can see the alternates, not the alternates, the airports which we have en route in China.
This is Dan speaking. For all the runways, it will be the normal threshold, the normal touchdown, sorry, at the basic position.
Okay, perfect.
So there you go. That's some of the work that's been done over the last 24 hours. Very many briefings, everyone trying out different scenarios to try and get this plane off the ground and to Hawaii. And the man who's been at the top of that pyramid is Raymond Claire, who's with me now, the mission director here in Monaco, the big boss here. And it's been very busy, hasn't it? I mean, people might think that, well, 5 weeks, nothing to do, the plane's on the ground. But these guys have been working early morning, they've been working late at night. I mean, I can't count the number of different potential scenarios that I've seen. So where are we now?
Well, we are after the Grand Prix, so it's calm here in Monaco, a great mood. Still working without stop, and we know it will not be an easy one because this is part of the game. It's the adventure, and we are working hard to fight for the first day. We have some little problems with clouds and so, but I'm quite confident. We had to delay the briefing, which is now in 15 minutes, due to this new problem. But yeah, it's good.
Well, so the situation is
confident.
Still confident. I know we've definitely reached a different level now. We are more confident than we have been for the last 5 weeks. But as you say, it's still a little unstable, so we won't get a definitive answer at this next briefing. Is that right?
No, you know, the definitive go will be given 1 minute before takeoff.
As usual.
Yes. So we had the last 2 or 3 days, we had always this waving front. And it's always, we are at the edge of this waving front. And we know that sometimes it's good, we have no cirrus. Sometimes 12 hours after, we have cirrus. I mean, in the planning, the days before. So now we are about, let's say, we are 8 hours before takeoff. And we'll have a new update weather this evening. Before the takeoff, we can also recheck the actual conditions. But it's such a long flight. We have to really go late before takeoff for the decision.
Because the level of complication has increased exponentially. Every flight is complicated. But this time, looking at the kind of simulations that you're doing, there are potential problems on every step of the route, from day 1 to day 5, or even day 6.
You know, the longest flight we have done with SIB, I think, is 22 hours. With SIA, it was about 26 hours, but this was 6 years or 5 years ago. And of course, it's completely different, the way to work. So we really need to keep the big picture, the overall weather situation, but we cannot go in detail in 5 days because there is a lot of uncertainty also in the weather forecast. So what we need is really to concentrate on the first day, and the second day. The good point is we have Japan on our way. Which is, in case of an emergency, could help, but it's not planned to be there. But for us, it's a safety. It helps to be confident that we will be able to do it.
So nice to know there's a big landmass there, just in case there is a problem on day 1
We'll
or
not
even
fly
day 2.
over Japan, but in the region, and this is for us a good safety asset here.
Okay, well, I think your briefing is in, just under 15 minutes,
yeah.
so I'll let you get over to that. Thank you very much, Raymond.
Okay, you're welcome.
And there's going to be another update at around about 1540 UTC, 15:40
This
GMT.
will be the time for the pilot update briefing before he's going in the plane, yeah?
Okay, so we'll be following that as well. Thanks very much, Raymond. Nice
See
talking to you.
Yeah.
Raymond Claire, Mission Director, just giving us the latest information. They're going into a briefing in 15 minutes to really go into more detail. Lots of people waiting anxiously here and in China as well. We've got a huge amount of people on this team. International press following as well. We've had lots of calls from people who want to find out exactly what's going on. So obviously, as soon as we get any information, you will hear it here on SITV and on solarimpulse.com. Well, I spoke to André Borschberg a little earlier today, and we covered lots of these areas that I just spoke to Raymond about. But really, I wanted to know psychologically how it was, what it's like to wait this long, 5 long weeks in China. How have they been dealing with it? And here's what he said.
You know, in some ways, to stay here in 5 weeks was difficult, but also brought free time. So difficult because you build up impatience after a while and everybody really wants to be in action. So waiting is never easy. But on the other side, it gave me time to better prepare, to anticipate, to project myself in this airplane, and I think this was extremely helpful. So, you know, depending on the time you would ask me, maybe sometimes I would have told you I'm frustrated, sometimes I'm very happy.
Now, André, last year there was a real-time simulation of this round-the-world flight, and the plane took off on the 1st of May in a perfect weather window. So how are we doing now? Are we behind schedule, or are we still okay?
We are not behind schedule at this stage because it's part of what we do to wait. You know, if we would planned to be on time, the end of the flight would already be in mid-June in the plan, and that's not the case because we know that before August we'll not be back in Abu Dhabi. So that's really part of what we are doing. But of course, when you wait, the pressure is mounting. And you have to be careful not to take a window which is not good enough just because you want to move forward. And that's not easy. That's really not easy.
And presumably there will be a point when it's just too late in the year to continue.
There will be at a certain stage, yes, depending on the energy. But it's much later in the season, so we have still plenty of time. But of course, if we have to stay 3 months in the United States, then we may have a big question mark.
Now, people have seen lots of things in the press recently about your trip to Japan. Many people wondering why you're going to Japan. Are you planning to land in Japan? So can you just clear up the situation for us?
We have to cross the Japanese airspace. We have to cross Korean airspace as well after China, and it's extremely crowded. There's a lot of traffic and the coordination is very important, and we wanted to be sure that we really understood the challenges of the Japanese ATC and that they understood also what we are doing, what we plan to do to ensure that the coordination is really done in the optimum way. So I think it was really helpful to meet them personally and discuss, in fact, all the program with them in very much detail.
Okay, so to clear it up, a non-stop flight from Nanjing to Hawaii is still what we're planning on. Now, André, you had to go back to Switzerland a few weeks ago as well. You weren't feeling too good. You had shingles, which sounds pretty unpleasant. But how are you feeling now? Are you back to full health, ready to go?
I'm feeling extremely well, and this time, you know, which we had now on top of May 5th, which was the first day of the window, yes, gave me the possibility to really build up the energy again. So I feel really good. I feel very happy and very confident as well.
Now, André, it should go without saying that this is an extraordinary, challenging flight, something that's never been done before. And for me here in Monaco and the guys here, there's a lot of tension. They're all working extremely hard. Everything seems to be okay in theory, but now we have to actually do it. So, yeah, we're pretty tense here. I'm wondering how you're feeling. Are you concerned? Are you worried? What's your state of mind?
I'm certainly concerned because it's very new. I'm confident that the airplane is a great airplane in terms of performance, in the way it flies, but it's a concern. And now as we go for 6 days, which is longer than what we expected to do, 5 days, 5 nights, that's adding a little bit in the uncertainty. But to mitigate this, we also have the possibility, in fact, to land in Japan during the first 2 days in case there is a big problem. So I think in terms of safety we are covered, but in terms of mission the suspense will remain.
So concerned and confident. I think that sums it up pretty well. That's how we're feeling, hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst, because there is no real plan B here. If André Borschberg can't make it to Hawaii, and we're well into the flight, then there is a chance that he'll have to ditch. So bail out of the aeroplane, take a parachute, and then inflate a life raft and wait for a boat to pick him up. Now, we don't want that to happen, but we do have to think about it and prepare for it here at the MCC, and also the pilot, and well, both the pilots, in fact, in China. And what does that training involve? Well, we've put together a video to explain. Equipped with a parachute, life raft, locator beacons and flares, the solar pilot must be prepared for the unexpected.
Thank you very much.
Solar Impulse is not equipped with an autopilot, but it does have a stability augmentation system that keeps SI2 on the same heading while the pilot takes 20-minute sleep breaks. An essential innovation is the monitoring and alerting system developed by our partner Altron, which alerts the pilot in case of any abnormal aircraft behavior.
So when the pilot is sleeping and we have an emergency, we have 3 steps of solution. The first one is the inboard monitoring alarm system, which automatically feels if there is a technical trouble with the aircraft. The second way is initiated from the mission control center. It's arm cuffs. They are vibrating and they will wake up the pilot. And the third case, if this is not working, maybe for a technical reason, we have an alarm sound that we can initiate from the cockpit, also a very loud alarm. So then the pilot will wake up for sure.
In most eventualities, the pilot will be able to quickly correct the path of the aircraft. But what would happen if, for example, SI2 had to land in the ocean? There's a high risk of electric shock in water landings, so the safest procedure for the pilot is to bail out of the cockpit, something that the pilots have trained for in several stages. Ejecting the cockpit door was tested in a wind tunnel to ensure a quick and clean separation from the frame. The pilots both practiced their freefall technique, getting used to the parachute that's built into the cockpit seat.
We integrated the parachute and life raft into the pilot seat to offer the pilot the ability to have more comfort. So between the pilot and his rescue equipment is the actual cushion of the seat. So he doesn't feel the weight of the parachute on his back and the life raft. It also offers him the ability to recline the seat fully, and the parachute and life raft remain inside the seat, and the pilot can still remain in a flying position. So he doesn't have that weight on his back. He's able to be flexible. He can rest on his right side and his left side. He can do exercises. And then if he has to have an emergency and bail out, he can pull the parachute, the life raft, they come to his back, and then he takes it with him. So he has a higher level of flexibility, comfort, but he still at all times has all of his rescue gear attached to his body and his person. If the pilot bails out and ends up in the water, he first has to get into his survival raft. And once safely in his survival raft, he has a bag full of all sorts of different survival equipment. The most important of which is to activate his personal locator beacon. This is important because it sends his position, his location, through a satellite network to the search and rescue personnel who are responsible for finding him. Afterwards, once he's safely turned on all of his beacons, he has several different forms of beacons, then he can start to worry about water rationing, food rations, am I injured, and managing his situation within the life raft.
Even with flight tracking systems and emergency locator beams, it's possible that the pilot may need to survive in the ocean for several days as search and rescue teams are deployed. The life-saving techniques include how to escape from a submerged aircraft and, of course, how to escape from underneath a parachute. The challenge for the pilot is then how to inflate and survive in a small life raft and wisely use food rations alongside a desalination kit. As the prototype Solar Impulse 1 flew in 2013, the pilots were reminded of how close to the technical boundaries these innovations are. The emergency training should never be needed, but this careful planning and practice gives them a solid plan as they embark on this global adventure. So like I said, preparing for the worst and hoping for the best. And give you a bit more information about what we've been doing here in Monaco to prepare for the worst. We've been going through many emergency simulations, imagining different scenarios that could happen and how we're going to deal with it here efficiently. But before that, I just want to take you back to the MCC now, because there's another briefing going on right now. Let's just go over there and see what we can hear.
Yeah, it's quite far off.
We can return to Nanjing until Saturday. Okay.
Landing in Shanghai, I checked, is not at all possible. It's too windy there. It's 40 knots, 50 knots on ground. All over the period we knew. Then next, Andreas, would be the Kagoshima.
Yeah, next airport after Sadly would be Kagoshima, where we could go. So we would divert after or at Wusa to reach Kagoshima, and I need 2 or 3 minutes to cross-check the arrival time with the meteo data, but I need 2 minutes to validate it.
And Fukushima?
We have the calculations, we would reach them, we would arrive there, but it's the same for all 3 airports. I have to check if it's matching with the window we have from weather. But we have, let's say if we approach Kagoshima, we have quite a long time which we can hold. We are at 16,000 feet, we have almost full batteries, so we can wait there quite a long time. Nagoya, we reach 12,000, we arrive at 12,000 feet, roughly 25 kilowatt hours, so also some margin.
Yeah.
But Fukushima, we are already at 3,000 feet, and we have 30 kilowatt hours, which gives us roughly 6 hours flight time. And I think we have there some troubles with the fog. So that's maybe tricky.
But Kagoshima is on Sol Day 1 in the night to Sol Day 2, correct? Nagoya would be the following days, huh?
10:30 we would arrive, 26th, yes.
Okay. And ATC restriction was the last big point. We have, I think we are fine with this 1 Zulu at Papa Kilo. I think this we can more or less respect. Takeoff latest 2030 is not an option for us at the moment. We calculate with a takeoff at 1900 Zulu. So this should be fine. Okay, then yeah, let's go to the briefing, and Raymond will start. I will go through these points. Maybe I will ask you a few details, and then we go into more details with Andreas, okay? Yeah. And later on we do the flex.
Yeah, and so we speak mainly on the changes or on solutions or so, but don't bring the full story again. We have to keep it short for
the current briefing that's going on.
For
next flight, leg number 7, which is going to be from Nanjing in China to Hawaii. An ongoing fluid situation, so we're still hopeful, we're still confident that we've got that weather window, but as Raymond said, we won't know for 100% sure until 1 minute before takeoff, maybe even a little later than that. So in terms of our preparation here in Monaco, as I was saying a little earlier, what we're doing is preparing for the worst, hoping for the best. As you saw there, the 2 pilots have been practicing jumping out of a plane and free falling and inflating a parachute, inflating a life raft as well to keep them safe in the water. And what we've been doing here is looking at various different scenarios and wondering how we would react and learning each time and getting better. We've done lots of those simulations so far. So let's take you through our crisis, our emergency simulation procedures so far.
The first instance was code yellow, so we had an oxygen leak on day 3, which was critical because we had already too much oxygen consumption in the previous days. So we were in an alert state. We had to recalculate everything if the remaining oxygen would be enough to reach Hawaii or not. I gave a scenario to a pilot, which was a team member sitting in a special room. and he had to reply as a pilot would do. So he gave all his indications he had, the failures and stuff, and I wanted to see if our mission engineer and Capcoms react how they should, if they had to discuss what are we going to do, can we still do the flight, do we have to improve the routing, can we change altitudes, stuff like this.
So we have different tasks to do. The first one was to train and validate the concept of having an engineer specialist team, which is not in the front room, but which would deal in case of a very special situation. Other points we need to train, and this is always the case, it's the communication between the pilot and the MCC, Capcom, and mission engineer, because we can see in such an exercise that you are almost in real life. So prepare what you want to write, bring it here and validate. Do it. Conor.
Windy conditions.
It's like a simulator. When you train in the aircraft, you have a burning engine and you forget that you are in a simulation. You think you're in the aircraft, so you work like in real case.
He's safe. He's still in climb. We continue climbing.
Yeah.
Is this correct?
Yes. No, we stopped the climb. Level 200.
The one concern I have is that we're not in an immediate danger.
After the problem was solved with the oxygen, the technical coordinator together with the system engineer, they found a solution for that. So we could manage to go to Hawaii. So I had to tighten up the screw a little bit as the coordinator for the training. So as said, there was a smoke and fire in the gondola. This means that we have immediately emergency, code red, which also led to a prepared bailout scenario. So the pilot goes through all the checklists, what he has to do. And then in the end, when we really have a fire on the aircraft, the pilot had to bail out.
I don't know, it's getting really hot. I want you to call my wife and just want to speak with her quickly.
Do it. Okay, this is already in the case. For the time being, we continue to review the checklist and...
It's very important to be ready for the worst case. So that's what we do in those trainings. And if you don't think about it, if it happens, then you are surprised and you will do errors. So if you try to think on every situation, maybe you can react correctly. That's the goal of it. Jean-Luc a pu lui parler directement.
Yeah, I think it was good, but we could see during the training everyone took it so serious. You really could see the emotion of all the people involved. The Capcom was was a tough situation for them, also for the mission engineer, and also the media guys they were under big pressure. They had to improvise all the time, and that's what I wanted to see. And I think everyone performed quite well. Of course, we have to improve even more. You can always improve.
There you go, we could always improve, but I think we're doing pretty well. Everyone here is quite happy with our state of readiness right now. Talking of readiness, we have another briefing going on. Let's take a look at that. This is the big briefing. We've got many people from China, Switzerland, various other parts of the world who are connected to this briefing right now. Let's have a quick listen in. I think we've got some sound of the briefing.
Takeoff over Sardli at this ATC waypoint 33 degrees north latitude. This point, Cirrus, actually improved for the point Sardli and point 33 degrees north. It's now clear. So the risk of going further to the north is lower. The Sardli point is also clear, but there's time critical that we have to be there at 4 Zulu and not a lot later. Details later. For takeoff, the takeoff conditions are good. The Cirrus takeoff are confirmed, and we have a little more Cirrus Zero Cumulus at around flight level 200 was my last information. 7 octa Zero Cumulus. We have a picture later how this looks like, which causes energy problems in the beginning. But as as long as we leave...
That's the briefing which is happening right now. Another big update briefing just to prepare everyone, not just here in Monaco, we're speaking to people in China, a real big team meeting to get us prepared for this huge flight, this long flight, at least 120 hours. I don't know the exact timing yet because it's a bit fluid, but we know it's going to be at least 120 hours flight. This is one guy in a cockpit which is less than 4 cubic meters, not really sleeping, resting at various periods, and it's going to be a huge human, technical, and of course, as we can see here, logistical challenge. I have with me Yin Fang. Yin Fang is one of our digital marketing managers who looks after, in particular, our Chinese activities. The plane's in China at the moment. We've been spending around 5 weeks in Nanjing itself, and one of Yin's responsibilities is to help us to keep ramping up the interest in China. And how's that been going, Yin?
Well, actually, Chinese people, since the very beginning, have been really, really enthusiastic. And of course, those 2 flights to Chongqing and Nanjing were really the peak moments. And because I'm managing the Weibo accounts, I can feel that very strongly. And also during the on-site events in Nanjing, I can also feel that.
Yeah, so Weibo is the Chinese equivalent of Twitter and really big thing in China. And
yes.
Give us an idea of the size of the coverage we've been getting there.
Well, just to give you a general idea, we have a number of followers of, we're reaching very soon 140,000 followers. And during those 2 flights, I can feel that every day, or even every minute, we have lots of engagements, comments, questions, encouragements, especially. And I'm really thankful to that.
So China has been open and receptive to our message.
Yes, exactly.
Thank you very much, Yin, and we'll come back to you in a little while. I think it'd be nice to hear some Chinese on this show again. And I think that whilst we are all really looking forward to getting on with this flight, we'll be sad to leave China as well. We've been there for a long time, we've learned a lot, and as Yin was saying, the interest has been huge. And we put together a video to show you some of our key moments over those few weeks.
Clap very, very loud. Where are the pilots?
大声的请他们出来。大家掌声请出2位飞行员贝特朗·皮卡尔和安德烈·波许伯格。大家好。大家好，我们的2位同学已经给飞行员献上了花环，表达对他们的敬意。
Now, you are at the age where you can dream also. You can see your life in front of you. You can have hopes, you can have expectations, and you can work for it. Because of course, it needs some work to make the dreams come true.
A project like this, an airplane like this, is not only an airplane. It's not only about an airplane. It's about the people, the team who thought about it, who prepared it, who designed it, who built it. We'll count the time that we'll leave this fantastic country. China is the most important stay, is the most important stop of the entire flight around the world. So Bertrand, how was this fabulous flight for you?
It was really a privilege to be able to fly over China, to receive the permissions from the biggest country of the world to a private project from a small country like Switzerland. And we are very thankful.
So we'll be sad to leave as well, and we've had a wonderful time in China. And I think it's time that Yin gave another message. He gave a wonderful welcome message to China. Now it's time to say bye-bye. So Yin, take it away. It's all yours.
OK， 好的，那接下来我用中文和大家说几句啊。我是这个新浪微博就是仰光动力官博的小编，很高兴又和大家见面了。那么在之前在重庆和南京这几段飞行中，我在网络上面非常切实地感受到了大家的热情的支持，那在此我要特别的再次感谢。那么接下来呢，我们就要进行可能长达6天6夜的跨越太平洋，从南京到夏威夷的飞行了。那我希望在这期间大家还能继续保持这样的热情，并且多多支持我们的清洁未来计划，去我们的网站投票。谢谢。
Thank you very much, Yin. And he was accompanied by his translator, Vincent Colgrave, who's now going to explain exactly what he said. No, I'm only joking, Vincent, don't worry.
No idea.
Vincent is one of the senior members of the web team as well. And you have been busy too, because the big initiative that you work on is Future is Clean, an initiative started by Solar Impulse, but now you've got many, many partners. It's been going extremely well. And I think you have something new to show us.
Yes, we have a new website. Our team has been really working like hell during the past weeks, everyone, developers, and so on. So it's really a pleasure to announce that we have the V3 of the website that is online today.
Can we have a look? Let's have a look. There we go. Concrete actions for a clean future. Oh, it's very nice. Nice colors as well.
Yeah, exactly. We have been working, like you see that there is, Google is one of our key partners for Future is Clean, so we've been working together on this new design. This part is really to show that our goal is to have the more people engage, the more they can win prize, because the goal is really to have to reward the action people are taking on the website. And this is really the part showing who is involved. And here you can see that we have more and more initiators who are involved. And if we go down a little bit, we'll see that Kofi Annan Foundation and Kofi Annan just joined, and this is a great success for us. And they are backing the Future is Clean movement.
And it's not finished though. There'll be more to come.
More to come. Yes, it's only a beginning.
And look at that. That's COP21. And explain why this is important for Future is Clean.
It's important because our goal is to bring all those voices of people who joined Future is Clean, to bring them to COP21, to the United Climate Conference that will be held in Paris in December this year. And the goal is really to have everyone who joined us together with André and Bertrand, who will hopefully talk during COP21.
Okay, well, there you go. If you haven't signed up for Future is Clean by clicking I agree, I don't know what you've been doing. You've had weeks and weeks to do it. Do it now. It takes 2 seconds. I agree. There you go. That's what comes up. You can register by Facebook, Twitter, Google+. You don't even have to go through the effort of typing in your own name. That's how good we are to you. It's really, really simple for those who want concrete actions for a clean future, and frankly, who wouldn't? Vincent, thank you very much. And there'll be more to come tonight on our Takeoff show, tonight for us, tomorrow morning in China time. We'll have more news on Future is Clean and a fresh challenge, but we'll keep that secret for now. How's that?
Exactly.
Okay, it's going to be fun. Trust me, it's going to be good. Well, thank you very much, Yin. Thank you very much, Vincent. And thank you for watching. We will have a mini update because this briefing, we can maybe go back to it right now, maybe not. It's still ongoing. And we will give you the update that we have, the pilot update, maybe have a chat with Raymond Claire, and that's going to be around about 6 o'clock local time, which is 1400 GMT. So come back to us for that. And of course, for the Takeoff show, got a huge Takeoff show planned. We're going to be explaining to you exactly what's in store for us over the next 5 or, well, maybe 6 days. We will see. Anyway, all that will be confirmed a little later on today. Thanks for watching Solar Impulse TV, and stay tuned to solarimpulse.com for continuous updates either via the Solar Impulse TV broadcasts or our social media channels. See you soon.